Most traditional hunters think a heavy 4-stage turn bolt is the only way to guarantee a safe lockup. That mentality is costing them the fastest follow-up shots of their lives when a trophy is on the move. Look, if you are still dropping your rifle from your shoulder just to muscle open a sticky casing, you are living in the past. Stop buying legacy actions just because your granddaddy carried one. The year is 2026. The straight pull renaissance has officially hit the woods, wiping out that slow vertical lift for a lightning-fast linear stroke. You think you need a semi-automatic rig to lay down fast lead and thick brush. You have never seen what these modern engineered beasts can do under pressure. I am breaking down the top 8 straight pull hunting rifles of 2026. We are stripping away the marketing fluff to see exactly how they lock up, how they feed, and if they are worth your hard-earned cash. Ready for the list to drop? Give me the word and we will start at number 8. Kicking things off at number 8 is a rig that looks like it dropped straight out of a sci-fi movie. This is the Dentler DR21. If you run a heavy sound moderator on your hunting rifle, you know how front-heavy and awkward traditional setups can get in the thick brush. Dentler solved this by going full Semi-Bullpup, relocating the 5-round magazine directly behind the trigger group. This is not just for looks. By shifting the action backward, they managed to squeeze a full 20.5-inch barrel into a rifle that measures under 37 inches overall. That means you get maximum powder burn and terminal velocity out of a .308 Winchester without swinging around a rifle the size of a boat oar. The bolt operates on a true straight pull system, locking 6 massive steel lugs directly into the chamber. When you push that bolt forward, it slams home with the heavy authority of a steel bank vault door shutting. But here is where we get to the mechanic's insight. The DR21 uses an active pressure safety system built right into the backstrap of the pistol grip. The gun sits completely decocked and dead until you wrap your hand around the grip. The natural pressure of your palm silently tensions the striker, feeling exactly like giving a firm handshake. The absolute second you let go, the gun decocks itself automatically. It is brilliant for climbing into tree stands or pushing through dense thorns where traditional tank safeties can get snagged. Now, let us talk about the deal breaker. All this dense engineering comes with a serious weight penalty, tipping the scales at over 9.1 pounds before you even add an optic or a full magazine. This is a massive chunk of metal. If you are planning to hike steep alpine ridges all day, this heavy beast is going to wear you out fast. Plus, those radical futuristic lines definitely will not win over the traditional wood and blued steel crowd. Next up on the block is number 7, the Merkel RX Helix Speedster. If you are looking for pure, unadulterated speed on moving game, this German-engineered machine is an absolute monster. Most straight pulls require you to pull the handle the full length of the cartridge. But here is the mechanic's insight for this rig. Merkel uses a patented rack and pinion transmission system inside the receiver. For every 1 inch you pull the bolt handle rearward, the actual 6-lug bolt head travels 2 inches inside the gun. This mechanical multiplier gives you a massive cyclic rate advantage, letting you cycle the action with a tiny, lightning-fast flick of the wrist. Because the entire action is completely enclosed, no metal bolt flies back toward your eye when you rack it, meaning you can stay perfectly locked into your optic without flinching. Cycling this rifle feels exactly like downshifting a high-end sports car, smooth, incredibly fast, and totally contained. To make it even faster, Merkel designed what they call the Omega grip on their synthetic stock. They essentially chopped the top bridge off a traditional thumbhole stock. This open-topped geometry means your thumb can slide straight up to the bolt handle and drop back into the grip instantly, giving you vertical grip control without getting your hand trapped in a hole. The trigger breaks right at 1,000 grams, snapping cleanly like a thin icicle under pressure. But here is the deal breaker you need to keep in mind. With all those internal gears running on a 2-to-1 ratio, this action is highly complex. If you take a hard spill in the mud or get a handful of grit blown into that open ejection port, stripping down a rack and pinion system out in the backcountry is a total nightmare. It absolutely thrives on the clean stands of a European-driven hunt, but it is not the gun I would drag through the gritty, freezing mud of a 10-day wilderness survival hunt. Moving into the number 6 spot, we have a rifle built strictly for the mountain purist. This is the Jakele J1. Engineered in Germany, this rig throws away everything you thought you knew about traditional safeties. It operates on a 4-lug rotating bolt head that executes a 90-degree turn to lock deep into the barrel extension. When you run this action, it feels as smooth and exact as sliding a steel caliper closed. Let us look at the mechanics' insight for this platform. Jakele calls it the relax system. Instead of a tang safety or a cross bolt, they built a cocking lever directly into the front of the trigger guard. You grasp the grip normally. Use your middle finger to squeeze that lever backward, and the mainspring is instantly tensioned. The absolute second your hand relaxes, the gun automatically decocks. In a high adrenaline hunting situation where fine motor skills vanish, this active biofeedback system guarantees you will never accidentally leave a hot rifle slung on your shoulder. To back up that innovative safety, they dropped in an ultralight 12-gram firing pin. Less mass means less inertia. The split second that dual-stage trigger breaks, feeling as crisp as snapping a dry autumn leaf, that striker hits the primer with the blinding speed of a striking rattlesnake. But here's the deal breaker, and it is a massive one for guys who hunt in target-rich environments. The Jakele J1 only holds 2 rounds in its fixed internal magazine. In a world where 5-round drop box magazines are the standard, having a strict 2-round limit is a very tough pill to swallow. If you stumble into a massive sounder of wild hogs and need heavy firepower right now, this elegant mountain rifle is going to leave you clicking on an empty chamber while the meat runs away. Stepping up the power and cutting the weight, we arrive at number 5. This is the Chapuis ROLS Carbon, tipping the scales at a ridiculously light 5 pounds and 3 ounces. This thing feels like you are holding a graphite fishing rod instead of a high-pressure hunting rifle. Let us dive into the mechanics of why this featherweight can handle heavy loads safely. Instead of traditional rotating lugs, the ROLS uses an 8-pedal expanding cone system. When you drive the bolt forward, an internal sleeve forces 8 independent metal pedals outward to lock directly against the barrel extension. This massive bearing surface is rated to hold back an insane 123,000 psi of chamber pressure, making it an absolute fortress, even if you are running hot loads. When you squeeze that hinged floor plate trigger, breaking as crisp as a snapping guitar string, the rifle barks, pushes heavy 300 Winchester Magnum lead out of a 5-pound chassis. Sounds like a dynamite charge going off in an empty canyon. But let us be real about the deal breaker here, and it is a massive hit to your bank account. The damage to your wallet sits right around $9,000. For that kind of cash, you could buy 3 top-tier hunting rigs and a lifetime supply of ammo. Dropping a rifle that costs as much as a used truck onto jagged alpine rocks is going to make you absolutely sick. I know the traditional heavy barrel guys will doubt a 5-pound rifle can hold a 0. Sound off in the comments if you have dispatched game with an ultralight rig and live to tell the tale. This Chapuis is a serious tack driver for the high mountains, but wait until you see the absolute modular powerhouse sitting at number 1. Now we get into the serious brush guns. Taking the number 4 spot is the Browning Maral 4X. This is a highly specialized European beast designed explicitly to dominate the driven hunt scene where semi-automatics are completely banned or heavily restricted. The secret to this rapid-fire rifle is the Servo-Assisted return system. Here is your mechanic's insight. Unlike a standard linear action where you have to manually push the bolt back into battery, the Maral uses a massive internal spring. You just rip that dog-legged bolt handle to the rear to eject the spent casing and completely let it go. The heavy spring violently drives the bolt forward for you, stripping a fresh cartridge from the magazine and locking it down automatically. Because the bolt never protrudes out the back of the aluminum receiver, you never have to pull your face away from the stock. Firing this rig feels totally planted. That super feather trigger breaks as sharp as stepping on a frozen pine branch. And when that Servo spring slams the action shut, it sounds exactly like a heavy pneumatic nail gun driving into solid oak. But let us be real about the deal breaker. That massive return spring creates a serious stealth problem in the woods. If you are sitting in a dead quiet hunting blind and need to chamber your first round, you cannot ease this bolt forward quietly. You have to let it fly, and the loud metallic clank of the action slamming shut will absolutely alert every whitetail within 100 yards. If you need absolute silence before the shot, this spring-loaded mechanism is going to fight you. Bringing the straight pull revolution back to American soil, we hit number 3. This is the Savage Impulse Core Hunter. For over a century, the United States sporting arms market ignored linear actions, but Savage tailored this rig directly to the ergonomic demands and price sensitivities of the North American hunter. Let us dig right into the mechanic's insight behind their proprietary hex lock action. Instead of relying on standard rotating lugs or expanding splines, the bolt head utilizes a ring of 6 hardened steel ball bearings. When you drive the bolt handle forward, an internal plunger forces those steel bearings outward into a machined groove inside the barrel extension. Here is the genius part. When the cartridge ignites and rearward pressure spikes, it actually forces the bearings deeper into their recesses, meaning the lockup gets proportionately tighter and safer as chamber pressure increases. When you squeeze the user adjustable accu-trigger, it breaks clean like snapping a brittle piece of chalk in half, throwing massive 300 PRC lead downrange out of this straight fluted barrel. Sounds exactly like a thunderclap ripping through a narrow valley. Savage also drops this aluminum receiver into their AccuFit V2 stock system, giving you adjustable length of pull and a limb saver recoil pad that cuts felt recoil by a massive 50%. But here is the deal breaker you absolutely need to know before putting your money down. This mechanical action demands a perfectly straight rearward pull. If you get buck fever and apply lateral side pressure to that bolt handle during a panicked reload, the action has a distinct tendency to bind up at mid-stroke. If you are staring down a heavy target and your bolt jam's halfway open because you yanked it sideways, you are going to be in a world of trouble. Entering the elite tier, we drop in on number 2. This is the Beretta BRX1. Before this Italian machine hit the market, a linear action was strictly a luxury item with a massive price tag. Beretta commoditized the platform without gutting the mechanical integrity, delivering kinematic speed to the everyday hunter. Let us look at the mechanic's insight driving this accessible beast. It runs on a rotating bolt head system pulled straight from Beretta's heavy military manufacturing lines. Instead of relying on friction alone, a linear cam forces the bolt head to rotate, locking a massive 16-lug dual row array directly into the barrel extension for magnum chamberings. That gives you an incredibly rigid, bomb-proof lockup that handles massive pressure spikes while still guaranteeing effortless extraction when the brass expands. Taking a shot with this rig is incredibly fluid. The single-stage trigger breaks right around 2.1 pounds, snapping off with the sharp crack of stepping on a dry hickory branch. When you push heavy 300 Winchester Magnum lead through that 20 0.1-inch cold hammer forged barrel, it barks like a massive sledgehammer striking a solid steel anvil. You also get true ambidextrous capability right out of the box. Shooters can swap the bolt handle from the right to the left side in minutes without taking a single tool to the gun, and even reverse the ejection direction. Plus, they engineered a specific negative cone into the stock that slopes downward, actively diverting felt recoil away from your cheekbone so you can stay glued to your optic. But here is the deal breaker you have to accept. In order to get this street price down to roughly $1,500, Beretta went heavy on the plastics. That black polymer stock has a very hollow, cheap feel when you tap on it, and the high-visibility orange polymer Dropbox magazine looks like a plastic toy sticking out of the bottom of a serious hunting rig. If you want that solid, old-world craftsmanship feel, this plastic-heavy construction is going to leave you completely underwhelmed. Closer to the crown, we finally reach the absolute apex predator of the market at number 1. This is the Blaser R8 Professional 2.0. Why does it sit uncontested on the throne? It gives you the massive modularity and barrel-swapping ecosystem of the Chapuis at number 5, but pairs it with an extreme weather ruggedness that puts the hollow plastic feel of the Beretta at number 2 straight to shame. The engineering dominance all comes down to its radial collet locking system. Instead of a standard rotating bolt head, this unique action pushes 13 robust steel splines forward into the chamber. When they hit the barrel extension, they expand outward to lock perfectly into an internal annular groove. This creates a massive 360-degree lockup that distributes the violent rearward thrust of a Magnum cartridge completely evenly across the entire surface area. When this tack driver throws massive 500 Jeffrey lead down range, the muzzle blast sounds exactly like a concrete pillar detonating in a closed room. That integrated trigger group pulls with zero creep, breaking as cleanly as a frozen glass rod snapping in half. Blaser permanently embedded the receiver into the synthetic stock for ultimate rigidity, and then coated the cold hammer forged barrel in a diamond-like carbon A+ finish. That deep matte black layer gives you such extreme surface hardness that you can drag it through freezing alpine rain without a single worry about rust or corrosion. You also get a height-adjustable comb that pops up 30 millimeters at the push of a button, instantly finding the sweet spot for your eye alignment. To put this absolute modular powerhouse in your gun safe, the damage to your wallets sits right around $5,700 flat. There you have it, the top 8 straight pull hunting rifles pushing the boundaries of what a modern rig can do in 2026. Look, the traditional 4-stage turn bolt will always have a place in the safe. But if you are tired of losing your sight picture when the pressure is on and the target is moving, it is time to step into the modern era. These linear actions give you the speed you need without sacrificing the lockup strength required for heavy Magnum loads. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these machines you would actually trust on a backcountry hunt. If you want the raw truth without the marketing fluff, lock it in right here.